In the cold, misty lands of Scotland, the wind howled across the moors, carrying with it the spirit of defiance. Steel clashed at dawn, and men, covered in mud, blood, and faith, stood ready for battle. It was the year 1297. Before the River Forth, near Stirling Bridge, the English prepared for what they believed would be another minor rebellion. They were wrong. Because that morning, a man rose from the shadows of history. A man whose name would echo through centuries. William Wallace. Chronicler Thomas Gray once wrote, "William Wallace was a man of formidable stature, of great spirit, who feared no enemy, and whose heart burned for the freedom of his people." Even in the words of his enemies, we find the truth of his legacy. A man who turned his life into a cry for freedom that would never fade. William Wallace was born around 1270. In the small town of Elderslie, Renfrewshire. He belonged to the lesser nobility, the son of Sir Malcolm Wallace, not a prince, not a lord, but a man with an unbreakable soul. Educated, perhaps by the church, he learned Latin, law, and the ways of the sword. Of his youth, history remembers little, but legend remembers everything. The 15th century poem, The Wallace, describes him as tall, strong, and fearless. A hero moulded by destiny itself. Though much of it is myth, one truth remains. Wallace was real, and he fought for something greater than himself. In 1286, Scotland was thrown into chaos. King Alexander III was dead, and with him the royal line. 13 nobles claimed the throne, and in their struggle they invited the English king, Edward I, to mediate. Edward, known as the Hammer of the Scots, had no intention of helping. He crowned John Balliol as his puppet king and demanded his loyalty. When Balliol rebelled, Edward invaded Scotland with fire and steel. Castles fell, nobles surrendered, and the proud land of the north was crushed beneath English rule. But in that darkness, one voice refused to be silenced, the voice of William Wallace. In early 1297, Wallace struck his first blow. He killed the English sheriff of Lanark, William Heselrigg. It was a spark, and soon that spark became a wildfire. Wallace gathered men from the hills, the farms, the villages. Not soldiers, but Scotsmen. They had lost everything, except their will to fight. September 11th, 1297. At Stirling Bridge, Wallace and his ally Andrew Moray faced a massive English army. The enemy marched confidently, crossing a narrow wooden bridge over the River Forth. Wallace waited. He let the English fill the bridge, and then he struck. The Scots charged with unstoppable fury. The bridge collapsed under chaos. Armoured knights fell into the water, dragged down by the weight of their armour. Thousands drowned. The battlefield turned crimson. It was a stunning victory, a moment when the impossible became real. For the first time, England trembled, and Scotland believed. After Stirling, Wallace was named Guardian of Scotland, in the name of the exiled King John Balliol. For a brief moment, Scotland had no king, but it had a leader. He strengthened defences, issued royal seals, and reached out to France for alliance. But not everyone supported him. The nobles, jealous and divided, resented the rise of a common-born hero. Their disunity would soon cost them everything. In the summer of 1298, King Edward returned with vengeance. An enormous army, knights, archers and mercenaries, marched north. On July 22nd, the two forces met near Falkirk. Wallace formed his men into circular spear formations called schiltrons, designed to repel cavalry. At first, they held strong, but then the English longbowmen began their deadly rain of arrows. The schiltrons broke, the cavalry charged, the Scots were crushed. Thousands died. Wallace escaped, but his dream of unity was shattered. He resigned as guardian, and once again, Scotland fell into despair. After Falkirk, Wallace left for France, seeking aid from King Philip IV. Some say he even travelled to Rome to plead his cause before the Pope. But Europe had its own wars, and Scotland was forgotten. By 1304, Wallace had returned home. Many of his old allies had submitted to Edward. Even Robert the Bruce had bent the knee. Wallace refused. He lived as an outlaw, hunted, betrayed, and alone. In August 1305, he was captured near Glasgow by a Scottish knight, Sir John Menteith. He was handed over to the English. The price of betrayal was freedom itself. In Westminster Hall, Wallace stood before his enemies. Accused of treason, he declared with unshakable calm, "I could not be a traitor to Edward, for I was never his subject." The court had already decided his fate. On August 23, 1305, William Wallace was executed with brutal cruelty. His head displayed on London Bridge, his limbs sent to the four corners of Scotland as a warning to others. But Edward's warning became a whisper of rebellion. Because Wallace's death did not end the fight, it immortalised it. Years later, Robert the Bruce would rise to lead Scotland to victory at Bannockburn. And though Wallace was long gone, his spirit guided them still. He became more than a man, he became a symbol, a reminder that freedom demands sacrifice, and that even the smallest voice can shake the mightiest empire. William Wallace didn't die for glory. He died for the right of his people to live free. And as long as freedom endures, his name will never fade. In the mist of the Highlands, where the wind whispers through the stones, his spirit still walks among the heather. Freedom, a single word. But for William Wallace, it meant everything.